be fine. So, all right. So should we fire up Craig?
Let's fire him up. Let's fire him up. We don't need to hear any more about Linero's latest schemes to take over the world. Do you know, I heard that guy made his fortune on scalping Tickle Me Elmos in '96. So I don't know.
Now recording.
Cabbage Patch dolls.
Yeah, Beanie Babies. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been at the forefront of all that stuff. So you gotta take
Cabbage Patch, Beanie Babies, and Tickle Me Elmos.
Good old Scammy Linero. Yep. All right. So let's get down to the brass tacks here, shall we? It is July 12th, 2023 for the community call for Aladdin DAO, and we are going to kick it off with some clever news. So
yeah, let's
we'll dive into it.
Let's do it, K-Mets. And Bribe Harvest round 48 is officially in. So that's kind of cool. We had another very successful bribe round. Linero's online. He could tell you about the bribes themselves, but Clever, in the context of the CVX bribe structure, fared very well again. And so Clever depositors got a big bump on their available Clev CVX for claim, as happens every 2 weeks. Always fun to see the system working.
Yeah, it's just kind of like all systems functional now. So we just keep on keeping on. So yeah.
So simple update on that side. We've also launched. Now we spoke last week about an improvement proposal for Clever, where we are looking at massaging a few things about how Clev emissions happen and how revenue is divided up. And we had some discussions a little bit. Is Tao with us today? I don't see him online. Tao was kind enough to comment on the forum proposal, but I'll just give a quick recap of the proposal that we put up. So basically, we're looking at trying to position Clever for a little bit higher growth rate. We're looking at always like twiddling the knobs to see if we can add a little fuel to that fire. And so one of the things that obviously for Clever growth, what that means is new CVX deposits. And there's a bunch of different factors that play on what attracts new CVX to the platform. But one of the main ones is looking at reducing some of the sell pressure on Clev so that rewards in the Clev CVX LP can get higher, ABC CVX rewards go higher. There's kind of everything, a lot of good things for Clever flow from the value of the Clever token. And so if we can pull some sell pressure off of Clev, then that should have like a pretty overall beneficial effect on the platform. And we've also, as we all know recently, Badger announced they were spinning down their CVX business. And so there's kind of CVX looking for homes right now. And we want to make sure that Clever's positioned in a very attractive way. So we put together a 4-step plan where essentially what we're going to do is Aladdin is going to allocate Aladdin has a few treasury resources from a few different sort of income streams projects. We're going to allocate that over to CVX and use that to vote for Clev CVX and CVX LP emissions. And that will allow us to reduce the Clev emissions that we're paying in each bribe epoch by about 500. In parallel with that, we're proposing that we reallocate. So we've currently right now, VE Clev revenue goes 75% to Clev token lockers and 25% to the treasury. We're proposing to change that to 50% to VE Clev lockers and 50% directly to further bribing of Clev CVX and CVX LP. So this one is the kind of the main sticking point and the one that we want to sort of propose carefully, because obviously the 75% revenue share was a sort of a marquee number when the Clev tokenomics was first put out. But we think that the long-term upside of Clev is vastly more driven by the total size of the Clever protocol and the total business there, rather than sort of the particular division of that revenue pie. And so essentially what we're proposing to do is take 100% of what's currently going to the treasury and a third of what's currently going to the token holders, and using that to bribe, again, in that CLEV CVX and CVX LP. And that will allow us to turn around and reduce CLEV emissions by a further 840 per epoch. So taken all together, this is a change that would cut the CLEV emissions in half and really take a lot of potential sell pressure out of the market. And so we posted a proposal outlining all of this and the reasoning and sort of how it all is going to work onto the forum. We had some comments. We've had some votes. The votes have all been in support on the forum, but just a handful, of course, being Aladdin forum bear market things.
Yeah.
But in any case, we've moved on and we've put up a snapshot vote to implement this proposal. And by the way, just as a side note here to everybody, vote no if you don't like this proposal.
Yeah,
like these votes are legit votes, and we wanna get a sense of we don't want to put anything through that doesn't have that majority support. And also, all of these kinds of knobs, we're adjusting them back and forth, and we think this is the best way forward right now. And if you agree, then you should support the proposal. But there's no like further changes are certainly possible in the future, including like we can always. None of these changes are irreversible, I guess, is my what I'm trying to say. So particularly during the growth phase, I think it makes a ton of sense to reinvest as much of Clever's revenue back into the growth of Clever. And by the way, like pumping up that, removing that sell pressure from Clev should help to make the VE Clev lockers boost more valuable as well, right? Because VE Clev are able to, as they're farming Clever, they're able to get more Clev on boost, which should be more valuable. So there's a few sort of the interplay between a few different behaviors on the platform is kind of complex, but I think that overall focusing on growth is the right move here.
Yeah, I think the only pushback I think I've seen on it, or not even, I wouldn't even call it pushback, but really just sort of calling into question is just sort of the reduction in sort of the fee distribution to VE.
Yeah, the revenue sharing is obvious. Yeah, that's like the main.
Yeah,
that would be the only thing. That would be the only thing that a Clev holder would potentially have issue with.
Yeah, and I think and I was like thinking about this. I was like, I don't. Like personally, I don't care what percentage of revenue I'm getting, so long as the number's always going up. I mean, you always want a bigger number, but and I also want the protocol to be sustainable. So if the protocol can essentially increase deposits and the number of tokens that I'm receiving as revenue is always going up, then that's a much better scenario than just kind of like having it stagnate and we just kind of all sit on the sidelines and just kind of be like, well, I got
I mean, I don't think anybody, certainly not on the team, but I mean, hopefully in the community as well, I don't think anybody looks at Clever as it is now and says like, this is the most it can ever be. The whole idea here, this is very much a grow the pie situation. And as you say, we're all aligned with what we want here in the long term is like a very big platform. Obviously, the token holders are the most aligned with seeing Clever get as big as possible. So really, this is just a question of how to get there. And so the team has put forward this proposal that we think is a step in the right direction, but it's going to be validated in the market too. And as I said, nothing is irreversible. So if this, if we're not seeing the sort of the changes that we want to see from this, then we'll head back to the drawing board and we'll keep working.
Yeah. So, but hopefully, the changes that come from this lead to increased quality of merchandise provided by Meta CVX, and so I think it's a win all the way around.
I'm not. Yeah, I think so. I think that's.
That's what's most important.
Yeah, I want Meta to start putting together custom mechanical keyboards because that we would bring it back to the earlier conversation, but. In the meantime,
yes.
Snapshot votes are live, VE Clev and XALD. Check it out. KMETS has dropped the links in chat. Do not forget to vote, no matter what your opinion is on the change. So and I think that's it for Clever, KMETS.
Yep. Yep, and those will be up, I think, through next week. So just we'll send out a reminder notice on the Discord and Twitter as well. So
We will. I hope so.
I hope so. I mean, it would
Who's-
be. I think it'd be wise.
Who's going to remember to remind?
Oh dear.
These are things that are definitely not my job.
I'll write a note to myself. So
All right.
all right. Let's go on to good old concentrator here. So the first thing we've got is the snapshot vote to switch the underlying asset for the AFXS compounder vault, and that's up on snapshot. So let's see if we
It's
can.
not loading for me. Is it working for you?
I haven't tried to. Let's see. It's redirecting me somewhere. Here we go. It's coming up. Well, I'll share the link so that everyone can go and visit the vote. But yeah, please go and check it out so that because I think there's not much time left on that one. Maybe like a day or so. Let's see. Yeah, it's taken a long time to load. I'm not sure if it's a snapshot thing or what.
Yeah, I can't get it up. I don't know if. Did you load the? Oh, I think Snapshot's having a problem because the other proposals are not loading either.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. It just popped up for me. So it's just slow. So overwhelmingly in favor so far, but not just a few votes so far. So please.
How much is left? Time.
Let's see. End date July 14th.
2 days.
2 days.
2 days. All right. Oh, you're right. And it just came up. Yeah, low turnout so far. So if you've got VECTR, do not forget to jump by and vote. We want to make sure that we hit that. Quorum. I'm not sure where that's written out, what we've defined that as. But in any case, this is a pretty uncontroversial, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's not a ton of interest here, just because it's it's not exciting and it's not controversial. So we will we'll continue to monitor that over the next couple of days. We'll send out a reminder as well for that, right, K-Metz? Add this to your note.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you'll get a heads up here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll tweet about it and remind people to check it out. But I think that'll be pretty straightforward. We'll get that AFXS backing switched over to single staking. That'll bump up the yield a little bit on that and bring it in line with the CVX FXS that backs Acurve.
Yep.
Next on Concentrator, we have two new harvesters, SUSD and Curve USD, and then Frax ETH and CVX ETH. So as always, the newer harvesters will appear sort of at the top of the list for a while, but you can always search for Curve USD, CVX ETH, and they'll pop right up. Check out those harvesters, and if they if you like their vibe, then deposit in there. But remember, the effectiveness of concentrator harvesters is always based on the total TVL. So the more TVL, the more frequently that your stuff will be harvested for you. If the TVL is low, expect that the harvest is a little less frequent. It'll still happen, but it's less frequent. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, they pretty good APRs on those right now. So yeah, check those out. And then let's see.
Next up, we've got an adjustment here. So this came through. It was a suggestion from the StakeDAO team, and looking at making an adjustment to the VESDT fee. So currently, there's a 15% fee that is paid to VESDT delegators on the ASD Curve vault, and what that does, of course, is that creates the yield for the delegation of VESDT, which is what gives us our boost and what gives ASD Curve its high yields. So and this actually came out of some private conversations with some of our friends who are very familiar with how StakeDAO works, and they suggested it actually might make sense to divert 1/3 of that fee. Rather than paying all of that fee out to the SDT delegators, we should divert 1/3 of that fee to actually buying and locking SDT in the market. And so if we lock our own SDT and then apply that boost to this vault, then we have a potentially longer term, like more sustainable way. Rather than always having to rent our boost, we can slowly build up a treasury to be able to buy the boost, and potentially, you know, with a long-term eye to being able to, you know, make that pool even more efficient, and be able to, you know, that SDT can be useful for other stuff too. And so as we've seen, the sort of integrations and partnership with StakeDAO have actually gone extremely well so far. And so, you know, harnessing ASD Curve to be able to basically deepen that link, I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's and plus it's pretty cool that like StakeDAO suggested it. So they, you know, obviously they're pretty involved and kind of watching things and want the best for us because it's good for them too. So
well, yeah, I mean, I think this is, you know, I think ASD Curve. We've talked before about you know, why ASD Curve is kind of an attractive. It's a, how can I say this? It's a much better product than like having your own SD curve for a certain type of user, and maybe for maybe many types of users, right? Like obviously when you have your own SD curve, you have the power to vote exactly how you want. But if you're trying to maximize yield on SD curve, there's really no better way than through ASD curve. It's just vastly simpler and sort of you know, easier, cheaper. It's basically it is the best way to maximize that yield. So I think that obviously StakeDAO seems to agree with that, and they've been out sort of promoting ASD Curve quite a lot as well. And so, you know, it's been a very mutually beneficial partnership that we want to see continue to grow and benefit both sides. Yep.
Okay. So let's that's kind of it for Concentrator for this week. And now we can move on to FX.
F of X. Let's so where did we leave it last week with everybody? We said that at that point in time, the code had been F of X, the new LSD backing. So the adjustments to make F of X LSD backed were code complete last week. They were in audit. They are still in audit. Yeah. And we were doing our internal testing last week. As of right now, I think we are on track to publish a testnet version this week. Hopefully tomorrow, I think. We're going to look at making the testnet version live for giving a try to the new LSD backed F of X. Now, this testnet is going to be, it's not going to be on Sepolia anymore because there isn't an ST ETH on Sepolia that we can reliably use. So we're using a completely different testnet called Falcon or Falcon.
I think it's Falcon.
Falcon with a PH. Falcon with a PH. And so, you know, when you navigate, once we make this live, when you navigate over there, your wallet's going to tell you that you need to connect to this completely different testnet that is not Sepolia. And so just be aware of that. It's going to be a little bit different than the Sepolia testnet, but it's really just a question of if we'd have continued to do the Sepolia testnet, we would have had to spin up a fake ST ETH in order to base the whole F of X mechanism on, which was possible and doable, but just it was going to delay things. And so we're going to go ahead and spin it up on Falcon. There's still going to be a couple of rough edges here. So definitely if you see, you know, we're as usual, these test nets are public for a reason. So please do play with them. And if you see anything not working quite the way you expect, then absolutely, you know, drop some feedback. We'll have a feedback form again, I think, right, Paul? And we're going to be keeping an eye on that and playing around with it ourselves. So, you know, that's going live again soon. Hopefully, look for that tomorrow.
Yeah. So I think by rough edges we just mean, you know, you should be able to get a pretty good idea of, like, you know, how things are going to function. So I think from a user perspective, it shouldn't be too well.
Well, sure, but then the other reason to even run the testnet is to find those rough edges, those bugs, and anything that's not working quite the way that it should, and get them polished up before we launch mainnet.
Exactly. Yeah. So
watch out for that. We do have a form. There is I think I'm not sure this isn't provided by us, is it? So there's a form to get ETH and staked ETH on Falcon testnet, and we can drop that link in the chat. We'll also when we publish the like when we tweet that the testnet is live, we'll leave a link as well to this faucet so that you can get some ETH and some staked ETH to play around with the system on Falcon testnet.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's like, I guess there's tons of like test nets available. The most popular ones you hear are like Gurley and Sepolia. So I guess like Falcon's just a kind of a private fork or whatever, a lot like Ephemery or something like that. So, but yeah,
all right,
coming out soon.
Doc Muscle's already got his testnet ETH lined up. Atta boy.
Dang. All right.
Okay, so that's looking good. And I think that's everything for FFX. Is that right, K-Mets?
I think that's it. Yeah, it's kind of like that's the next big thing is going to testnet and then
absolutely we'll be on testnet. Once we've got testnet polished up, there's there's going to be a fairly short lag between having that ready and mainnet deployment. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah,
big stuff. So so there's that, and then finally we have Aladdin. Updates on Aladdin. So we have the ALD ETH gauge is up and running, and we bribed it this week. So that was pretty cool. I think we sent like 8,000 ALD to Vodium for that gauge, and so the rewards will start kicking in for that. I guess midnight UTC. I always have trouble like trying to do that.
Yeah, it's like 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, I think. Is how when it like usually lines up, something like that. Anyway, check it out. Let's see here. Let's see, ALD and ETH. There we go. Yeah, and it doesn't show me the future yet. It's not integrated into the. I'm not looking in the right spot in the UI here on Curve, but keep an eye open for that. ALD and ETH now bribable, and we'll be paying out some Curve yields. There's one other thing that I will do like a minor alpha leak for. So just to kind of give sort of in the interest of full transparency to the community, we've been looking into the proposal that Tau wrote in the forum and then passed later, which was the adjustment to the ALD tokenomics. And there was the proposal was passed to make a couple of changes to how the XALD rebase works. We're going to cut the rebase rate in half, and there were a couple of other things in the proposal. The team has sat down to look at that and get started on that work, and we're actually looking at we've had some ideas while we've been doing this about ways to extend what Tau has started with, what he's proposed, and maybe push it even a little bit further in the same direction. So as we are getting that together, keep your eyes open and look out for that in the next probably by next week or maybe the week after. We may have some augmented changes to propose in addition to what Tau already did to the ALD tokenomics, as a way of kind of bringing that ALD token sort of up as a first-class citizen within the Aladdin ecosystem, as it was always meant to be, right? I mean, right. a lot of the current tokenomics are have been in place for more than a year, almost 2 years, I guess, maybe a year and a half or something. And they're based on they predate both Concentrator and Clever, and of course FFX. And so, we were focused on spinning these products up, and so we more or less just left ALD as it was. But it's definitely time to bring that up as a first-class citizen. And so, keep an eye out for some ideas that the team is going to bring about, obviously implementing the proposal that was passed that Tau originally brought in and discussed a few weeks ago, but then potentially even extending it further.
Yeah, so we'll keep everybody up to speed on that. I'll add that to my list of things to update people about. So won't be.
Do you have enough paper?
I tell you what, man, it is. I've been writing like crazy during this one. So
okay, all right.
We'll have plenty to update people on in the coming days and weeks, and as long as I don't lose my paper. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Keep an eye on that, and it doesn't spontaneously catch fire because it's become so hot where you live.
Yes, the core of DeFi depends on KMET's not losing his sheets of paper. That's what we're all. That's the crux of making it out of this bear market. What is this? KMET's you can add up.
KMET's. Linero pointing out.
Dude.
We have no market cap on ALD, CTR, and Clev on CoinGecko. Wants it. KMET or Linero is agitating for this, and I think rightly so. But
Yes.
Good to keep that top of mind. We will continue to push on that.
All right.
And
Somehow-
that, and is as a way of alpha leaking. One of the potential directions we're looking at for the ALD token, one of the extension directions for the ALD token is going to be, it's going to impact what CoinGecko reports. So
Pretty
teaser.
exciting. Ooh. All right. Well, man, I guess we go back to
did we knock
keyboard
this
talk.
one out in 45 minutes?
I guess so. Man.
Wow, that's so unusual. I mean,
I
we
thought
can
keyboard
start talking.
talk was a good 10 minutes. I thought that was.
And I only got through about half of what I wanted to talk about with regards to my keyboard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to add to that one. That's going to be all. That one's going to be all you.
Yeah, you'll one day. I'm going to convince you to fall. You're gonna say, well, I'll just give this thing a try, and then your life is going to be over. You're going to be.
Well, I actually, it's funny. Within eyesight of me, I have 3 keyboards, and I'm only using one, and the other 2 I kind of got on sale, and I didn't like them and whatnot, and so. But it's like, well, maybe Kruger does have some good.
If you're the kind of person who has a strong enough opinion about a keyboard that you don't keep using it, you are absolutely at risk of overspending on a mechanical keyboard.
Yes, there's no doubt. Oh my God, yeah, that's that. If there's one thing I need, it's definitely another rabbit hole to go down in my life to spend money on. That's definitely.
I don't know why you fight it. You know it's coming.
Well, it's not that I want to fight it. It's just I run out of money. It's basically.
You know what you need to do is you need to scalp some Tickle Me Elmos. That's what you. I'm not sure that they still have the same demand they used to.
Yeah. What is so? Linero's like pro tip: use minimal theme and move tabs to bottom for iTerm order. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh man, we are
getting into the weeds now.
Boy, we are just fishtailing all over the place now. Okay.
Why don't we wrap it up?
I'm just
here?
helping you on your way to the keyboard land.
Help and enabling are very. It's a very slippery slope, isn't it?
It's in the eye of the beholder, I think.
Yes, exactly. Or the addict, one of the two. Yes.
Yeah. Well, exactly. All right. Well, why don't we end it there? We'll call it a 45-minute call. And if anybody's got any questions or anything they want to talk about at all, please, feel free to jump in, drop something in text. But otherwise, hit us up on Discord, and we'll be in touch next week. Keep an eye out for the new FFX testnet, which includes now with LSD reserve support. And of course all of the new sort of shiny FETH staking that comes with the LSD backing that we've talked about ad nauseum. So keep an eye out for that, and otherwise stay safe out there, and talk to you all in the Discord.
Yep. You guys have a good one. Thanks, everybody.
Later.
All right. Bye.
Later, guys. Bye.